In this week's episode of Divine Hustle, we have a special guest, J.R. Aquino, in the studio talking about his journey on American Idol and collaborating with influential YouTubers, finding his purpose, and so much more. Let's get it. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Divine Hustle podcast. And on this podcast, we talk about pursuing your God-given purpose and greatness in your faith, relationships, in your finances, in your business, and in creativity. And today we have a very, very special guest, a good friend of mine, J.R. Aquino.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Hey,
how you doing?
How you doing? Do your jazz voice.
What is my
late night jazz?
Hey, what's up, y'all?
There you go.
Hey, what's up? It's J.R. Aquino in the building. I just want to say thank you for having me here on Divine Hustle.
Hey. So, Tribe, we got something special for you. If you don't know J.R. Aquino, you've been living under a rock. Oh, no. This dude is well known for like his music and like you as an artist, but people don't really actually know that you are such a genuine just lover of people and you are just such a people person.
Thanks, man.
And that's something that like I just absolutely admire about you, having known you this past year and stuff. But like I've been watching your journey since high school and stuff with Yesterday, Today, Forever, and that group, and then you being on The Voice and all this stuff, and like your life just kind of just blew up in the music world in that space. So, and you've written countless records. You're like on Spotify, so go check them out.
Yeah.
And stuff. And you came out with a brand new EP. It's out now, right? It's an EP album.
EP.
Okay. It's called Where We Started.
What We Started.
My bad.
No, you good.
Yeah.
You good.
And it's dope, y'all. Like I had the privilege last year when we first started Good Sounds. When you first started Good Sounds,
yes,
which we're gonna talk about.
Yes.
Performing with you.
Yes, you did.
And
you saved us. You saved us.
Oh, bro.
You saved us
fire.
for sure.
I had such a great time. So thank you for having me. Be part of that. That was a great moment. Very memorable for me.
Of course. Same for me, man.
It's so funny because I used to build drums.
Okay.
Like so you can see like
drums
dope. And stuff. So
tight.
With a company called Battlefield Drums. Okay. And I used to be a drum tech and stuff for artists. Like whenever they came in town, I would like tune up their drums, or if they're in the studio, tune up their kits or provide them with kits. Haven't touched drums or like played for like live anywhere, anytime. But the two artists that I performed live with was you and Fatai.
Oh, tight.
With Alex, what's his name? Alex Iono.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the only two times I ever played live.
Oh, awesome.
And I'm like,
great company.
No pressure.
Lovely.
No pressure, whatever. But anyways, so I remember that time. It was awesome. And if you haven't checked it out, go to his page and check that out.
Yes.
It was fire.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, so we are going to dive into Good Sounds and stuff. But I want to start off by like, man, first, thank you for being on the show.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
And like, I've been following your journey, and a lot of the people listening that do know you have been watching you for a while, but mostly like sometimes because they see you either on the Instagram or on City Light or something. So you're part of our worship team at church.
Yes.
And at Pastor Jabin and Shannon's church called City Light.
Yes.
Right.
Shout out to your pastors. Shout out to the pastors. What's up, y'all?
What's up? And hopefully we'll be getting them on the show too.
Yeah, most definitely.
But like, I really want to talk about your journey. Like from even finding and pursuing your passion and like having your skill set and like all that stuff and the success that you've had with music. And even in this past year, it's different. Like it's so different. The way you pursue music, the way you see music, the way you see people, or even the lens that you look through life. And I really, really want to just pick your brain about that and how that came about.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
Let's get it for sure.
So where did it all start for you, like discovering that you had a passion for music?
Oh man. Well, I guess culturally, being Filipino, as you know,
we sing karaoke.
We sing karaoke. Got the magic mic, baby.
Magic mic. Not the magic mic.
Yeah, not that magic mic. Not that magic mic, but the magic mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just started when I was younger. I came from a family of two older sisters and my mom and dad. The way I usually describe it is that my dad sings. Okay. He was in like a cover band I'm born and raised in Anchorage, Alaska.
Okay.
And so
shout out Alaska.
Shout out to 907, baby.
907.
So he was in a cover band out there, and then my mom, so I get my music from my dad.
Okay.
And then my sisters sing as well.
Yeah.
And then I'm just loud. I get being loud from my mom.
Okay.
She's just
you got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I get both. So I would say that I get my personality a lot from my mom.
Okay.
And then my dad's the music. And then my dad's typical, like, I guess Asian dad, where he's just like, I love you, Dad, and he's just like, no
emotion. Oh yeah.
He's just like,
hey, I love you. You could express like, I love you so much, man. Like you raised me and stuff. He's like, oh
yeah. Actually, you know what? I kind of got butthurt the other day because they were visiting earlier this year.
Yeah.
At the top of the year.
And I met your parents.
Yeah, you met
awesome.
them.
They're like, I was like, you're my parents.
Yeah, for real.
They're the same.
Yeah, for real. He was talking to his sister on the phone, and then he was ending the phone call. He's like, okay, Barbara, I'll talk to you later. Okay, and he's like, love you. And I was like, what? Oh, what? We said love you? Yeah. Dang, I've never heard you say love you to me. Come on, Dad. Oh my gosh, Asian child problems. Yeah.
For real.
Asian
Big
child
time.
problems. Yeah, for real.
For me, it was reverse. It was my mom that was like the non-emotional one.
Yeah,
she was like, you're going to be a nurse.
Oh,
okay? You have to be a nurse.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, do whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah. Come on, Asian parents. Y'all gotta do better. Emote.
Yeah. For real.
Yo, we gotta break that stereotype.
Yes. Break it.
Love us.
Yes. Just show us some affection.
Show us some affection. That's it.
Yeah. So you came from like a musical family.
Yes.
And you also came from like big personality, like your mom and stuff. Yeah. You know, loud. So when was it like where it was like, okay, this is just what we do and it's a hobby, and then you're like, oh no, I really want to pursue this. Yeah.
Oh man. So growing up, I was my mom would just make me sing. I would like be doing karaoke, and then I knew I loved singing right from the get go. I stole the mic from my sister at her 8th birthday. There's video of this too. I like took the mic. Yeah, I took the mic from her.
No way.
And then and I sang like a McDonald's jingle or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, McDonald's. It was like a Kentucky Fried.
Kentucky Fried
Chicken and a pizza.
That one. Oh my gosh.
So I did that.
My cousins used to sing that to me because I was like obese as a kid.
Dog.
And they're
That's
like,
all we did.
You're fat.
Oh,
like,
no.
They're like, McDonald's. I'm like,
it's just horrible.
Yeah, my cousins were bullies, man. My cousins were bullies.
Hella rude.
Especially because I was adopted.
Word.
And they're like, you're adopted. No. You don't even belong here.
Oh no.
I'm like,
I'm mad now. Y'all are mean. Don't
therapy
do that.
I had to go through. No.
But yeah, so I did that.
Yeah.
And then I was singing in like banquets, and then I would even sing at like my sister's, my older sister's, high school volleyball games and all that, like sing the national anthem and stuff. But it wasn't until probably I think I was 13 or 14 when the first American Idol season showed.
Yeah. Okay.
And I remember watching that and I was like, oh man, this is so cool. So right when I turned 15, I auditioned for American Idol, and that was season 4.
Okay.
And I got to the top 40. That was Carrie Underwood's season.
Her season.
I got to the top 44, and that was kind of like, so that was top 44 out of like I think 100,000 people.
Yeah, I remember.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Especially that year, it was like the big.
It was crazy.
It was the biggest thing.
I remember because I flew down to San Francisco.
Okay.
And I auditioned out there, and that was like about, I think there was like 20,000 people that auditioned out there.
Yeah.
And I remember being out there, being 15, and I'm just like,
shoot,
yo, this is crazy. And I just like feeling so small,
and
really being in the midst of like incredible talent.
Yeah.
Like incredible.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So after that season, when I got to top 44, and then I came back home, and I was like, oh, I kind of had a gauge of like perspective of like, oh, okay, I think I might be able to do this.
Right.
Like, because being in Anchorage and being in Alaska, it's like, okay.
I was gonna say like what kind of, because Anchorage, I mean, what comes out of Anchorage? I mean, is there a lot of talented people there?
I mean, no, there's tons of there's talent out there.
Right.
It's just we're in such a it's such a secluded area.
Yeah, that's what
like
I was like,
secluded area even before like the internet.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like
definitely.
before the internet was like a big use.
I remember one part of Alaska just got internet.
Right. Just
long.
now?
Yeah, like not too long ago.
That's wild.
It was like a whole Twitter thing. Like, we just got internet and we're filming like this one thing because we have internet now.
That's crazy.
And
but mind you, Alaska is literally like it is the biggest state.
Yeah.
It's 2.5 times bigger than Texas.
Yeah.
Like it's
its own thing.
It's called the last frontier for a reason, because there's so much land that's probably not even there's probably there's probably a bunch of like abominable snowmen like chilling up there somewhere.
I can't imagine.
Like I'm telling you, there's people just chilling out there.
That's
but
crazy.
Yeah,
So-
that's where I started doing the singing thing, taking it serious after I did American
And is that
Idol.
your first time like coming to like California?
Yeah.
It was for American Idol.
Yeah, it was for American Idol.
Dang, so it's like kind of seeing like there's a lot of people doing this, but this could be a thing.
Yeah, most definitely.
Was like a possibility. Like it kind of like birthed something in you.
Yeah, it most definitely put things into perspective to me. Mind you, this is still before YouTube and all that stuff, and I wanted to do singing. Like I was like, oh man, I want to do this, and I'm good. I'm like, you know what I mean. So I should be able. I can do this, but we're still in this age where it's like, oh, I live in Alaska.
Yeah,
it's not like I can just.
So what happened? So like obviously because you had a big dream, but you had like your condition of like circumstance didn't match your dream.
Yeah. It's almost like I mean, I guess I'm bringing it to like Marvel stuff.
No.
So exactly. So like for example, Howard Stark, Tony's dad, literally had all these things. Like I'm getting it from MCU stuff.
Yeah.
But he had all these ideas,
right?
But the technology just wasn't at the point where it needed to be for him to make those happen.
Same thing with Star Wars. So George Lucas, he created he started in the middle of the story, right, with Luke and like A New Hope. 4, 5, 6 came first because technology didn't catch up. So then after technology, they had like green screen and like all this like visual arts. Then you have Phantom Menace, and then that whole pre-sequels garbage, and like you just watch it and you're like, this is terrible. This is filmed terribly. But that's the only time that they had. I mean, they had green screen and stuff for New Hope and all that stuff, but the technology that they had wasn't there yet. So, man, so you had this massive dream, but almost like your circumstance didn't catch up yet.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. So basically, it wasn't until I graduated. I graduated, and then I was just basically chilling. I was doing the university out there. Okay. Shout out to UAA, all the Sea Wolves out there. It's kind of tight. I was out there. I did 3 semesters. Okay. And mind you, during the first semester, that's when I came across YouTube. Oh, so it was like 2006, fall of 2006. So a year after.
Year 2005 graduated?
No, 06.
06. Okay, 06, I was 05.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Yeah, so YouTube started like 05.
05, started 05.
And then so I started YouTube in 06, the fall of 06, because I came across a video. Shout out to David Choi.
David Choi?
I came across one of his videos, and I always tell him, for some reason, every time I see him, I tell him this story, and he's like, yeah, you told me already.
He's like, no, but you don't understand.
Yeah, but you don't get it.
Like, it's because of you.
Yeah, for real. YouTube. Yeah, so I saw this, and then, mind you, it's just one of the, YouTube's not a thing. Yeah. It was like,
what is this? For fun.
What is this thing? So he posted this, and it was, I forgot, it was one of his original songs, and I was like, oh man, this is cool. I was like, and it was really this thing of like identity and being Asian American. Wow. And like really noticing someone that I was like, oh, he, like slanted eyes, like, weird, these, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I was like, oh, I want to do something like this. I had fun. So I posted a video. It was a cover of Ernie Halter's Whisper.
How'd it go?
God, can you whisper in her ear anywhere on the way to her car? Hey. Something like that. It's fire. It's so fire. Shout out to Ernie Halter. I've never met you, but you're tight. So I remember posting the video, but the video was like super out of audio, video, out of sync. Right. Looked like a kung fu movie, the way the video was. And then I left it alone. Came back for like a couple weeks later. Okay. And then I noticed it was like 150 views. What? So like 10 comments, and I was like, dang. Whoa,
all the people that were on YouTube. Cool.
Yeah, that was literally all of YouTube.
All of YouTube.
And I was like, oh man, this is tight.
Dang, yeah, you can reach those people.
Yeah, and then and it was like how pure YouTube was back then. It was literally just that community, like, connecting thing.
I wish YouTube was
back in the day. Yeah. So I did that for like a year. Yeah. And then in the midst of all that, I got contacted by a production company out in New York.
Yeah.
And then they flew me out, me and my parents, and then I did my first. I did music out there.
Yeah.
And then basically made the move to New York City.
So YouTube was kind of like the catalyst.
Yeah, it was for sure. It was one of these things where it was just the right time.
Yeah.
It was just this moment where things aligned.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it like after had putting stuff out there and for you to be like, someone is watching this, but it doesn't matter how many views you got at the time. It was about who was watching. Like you could have 10 views.
Yeah.
But if one of them's Oprah.
Yeah. Bet.
Like, right. Or one of them's,
yeah.
Like someone that's, they're going to make that call.
Yeah.
What was that like when you...
I mean, I feel like that's... Yeah, I mean, yeah, they don't really. It's not really like that anymore.
It's not. Yeah.
It's not like that
a lot of it
anymore.
is about views now.
Yeah, because no one's really digging through. Because there's so much now. Mm-hmm. There's just so much to look through.
Saturated.
Yeah, so saturated. But back then, that was the mentality it kind of had. Once I started doing YouTube and realizing the power in it, it was kind of one of those like, oh, I'm just gonna bang out these videos.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like, okay, trying to see what songs were gonna come out, and then try and get a formula going, kind of thing. Back before there were formulas, you know what I mean?
No, I know. I remember because back in LA, I used to produce a lot of artists and stuff. And our formula, we call it the Bruno Mars effect.
Okay, what is that?
All right, so the Bruno Mars effect is like you wouldn't have a Bruno Mars without a B.O.B. Right?
Yeah,
and then you wouldn't have a Bruno Mars creating his own stuff unless he collaborated with the right artist, but having the right songs. That was gonna like pop off.
Yeah.
So like our formula. Because I would produce all types of musicians, produce their music videos. I was like, hey, so no one really knew this back in the day, but Australia had a really strict privacy law on pirating music.
Word. Okay.
So like they would go to jail if you pirated music. So a lot of the streams, a lot of the things were very organic and authentic. So they would buy good music. So there's this app called, if you want to look it up, it's called Top 100 like music charts.
Okay.
And then I would select on Australia's music charts and see which one is ranking up, and then pick like the ones that are about to like pop off in Australia, because they're 100% gonna pop off in America because of like the the algorithms, all that stuff. So we kind of like gamed like the system in that. And if there's like a new artist that came out with an album, we were seeing who was featured on those because they're like required to do a music video together. And stuff like John
Legend.
that
a music video is gonna come out.
You know it's gonna pop off. It just hasn't happened yet. So if you're the first one to put out before a cover,
when you have the result, when people are ready to see the video, you're the first thing popping up.
Exactly. So that take that strategy.
That's
it
might not be as good anymore, but it still works. I mean, it worked a little bit.
Yeah, but like and it's about like even flipping the tracks. Like not doing it exactly the same.
Exactly.
That's why people subscribe to your channel, because it's like, man, I just love the way JR sings.
There's a little take on it.
Right. So was that kind of like the strategy that...
I mean, yeah, it was basically kind of those things alongside, things that I just really liked singing. But yeah, that was for sure. Like, okay, trying to get ahead of it. Kind of thing.
So you got to New York.
Yes.
Then like, what happened with that? Like,
so I was out there for like about 2 years.
Okay.
And then I did my first album.
Okay.
And then after doing my first album, just kind of learned the pros and cons of the business. I went back to Alaska for like 3 months.
Okay.
And I was home, and I was just like, even though the internet and all that stuff was happening, I was like, I can't be out here. There's nothing to. I still can't. I still can't do anything.
Right.
So I just talked to my parents, and then I made the move out to Vegas.
Wow. Oh, so Vegas was your first move?
Yeah, Vegas was just because it was just like just financially just made more sense.
Yeah, of course.
So I moved out here, and then that's when I started to really like, I guess, buckle down and try and get more shows and just do that, and then really do the videos and stuff like that and be more consistent.
Yeah.
And that was like kind of, I guess, the golden age of like Asian YouTube.
Yeah,
those years,
that was
what, like 2000. I would say I moved out here late 2008, 2009.
Okay, because I remember in 2010, that's when Asian YouTube started, like,
you had the Wong Fu's, you got the Ryans, Kev Jumbas,
all of them started popping off like crazy, and it's like, I would eat it up. I'm like, dude, there's people that look like me.
That's exactly what it was, man.
And as a Filipino, and as an Asian American, it's almost like we didn't really get a spotlight.
Yeah,
we didn't
exactly.
really belong.
This was our TV.
This
was
was
our
our
TV.
mainstream.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, like, man, I would tune in and I would even follow like a lot of Filipino filmmakers and like YouTubers and stuff. And like, you know, they're teaching like effects and stuff that they're
Yeah, that's
so
super
like
dope.
it blew up in 2010
Yeah.
and like it was cool to watch you like come on that rise and like with, you know, YTF and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
you know, I know you talk a little about your experience with them. How'd you get connected to like
Man.
that group?
So I mean, the first person I met in that group was either Ryan or Andrew. I met Andrew at a gig out in Chino.
Oh, Chino.
Yeah,
that was
out
like
Chino,
right by
Cali. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in West Covina.
Oh, word. So it was right
Yeah.
over there. I had a gig with like a bunch of guys. So like it was literally like everyone that was in the whole Asian thing during that time. Andrew, and then I met Ryan actually out here because Ryan lives out here in Vegas.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you didn't know it?
No.
Oh, Ryan lives out here.
What?
Yeah, Ryan lives out here.
Ryan.
I don't know. Well, no, I'm pretty sure everyone knows that. It's not like I'm putting him on blast, but yeah, he lives out here.
Nah, I didn't know that.
Oh, word.
I'm
Yeah.
so detached.
No, you good. You good. You good. Ryan lives out here, but I met him when he was going to school at UNLV.
Oh.
And he was pre-med. He was doing pre-med stuff.
Okay, of course.
Yeah, and then he was doing that, and then I just remember running into him, and someone introduced us to each other. Like I didn't, I knew of him, but didn't really know him like that.
Right.
And then he was just like one of the first people that I got to like befriend out here.
Yeah. Dang, that's wild.
And then eventually it was kind of this thing where he moved and we'd like hang out and everything stuff like that. And then he moved to Cali.
Yeah.
And then I would always be making trips to Cali. And then just between friends that I have like my dancer friends and all this stuff. So like I would be staying at my homie like Brian Puspos's place out there.
Dude, Brian, man, he's dope.
Yeah, man, he's super sick.
He's super dope.
I would stay out there and then just down the street, they lived out in NoHo in North Hollywood.
Yep.
So literally like
I went to school at the Art Institute.
Oh, word.
Downtown.
Dope.
Yeah, in NoHo.
Dope. So they basically would have so like Ryan Dietrichs and all them, they would all live in this one complex, and we'd all literally just be hanging out. Like I didn't live there in NoHo, but I basically lived there.
Basically lived
I was on
there.
a couch. I was on someone's couch.
On somebody's couch.
On someone's
Just,
couch.
y'all.
But it was a great time just because it was one of these things where we just literally just hang out and record it.
Oh,
It was
that's
one of
a life,
It
though.
was one of these like. Someone would have an idea.
Yeah.
Probably the dumbest
that was-
idea. And
I see some dumb ideas.
Yeah, I was like, yo, there's a dumb
Especially
idea.
Dietrichs and Ryan.
No, we have just the dumbest
my
things, and we'd just be sitting there and be like, sure, we're not doing anything. Let's
Okay.
do it.
Why not?
Yeah, why
Yeah.
not? And then some of those would just be the funniest things. Like, it would either hit or it wouldn't. You know what I mean?
But at least y'all were just like
It was just being creative.
just
and
fun.
you're just out
Yeah.
there, and it would
Yeah.
just be a good time.
And there was like no really agenda for what you guys were doing. Like nowadays, people that are going on Instagram and like TikTok and like YouTube, they're trying to become viral.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the mentality.
No.
Of
With YouTube, it wasn't
YouTube
like
back then.
it wasn't like there was such a I felt like my the joy that I found from YouTube was really especially for me because coming from Alaska it was community, like literally if like I the joy that I found. I mean, it was great being paid to do what I love,
of course,
but it was so cool to be able to like go to a city across America, across the world, and be with friends that did the same thing. And I'd be like, man, this is so like, and I'd be like, yeah, I get to sing on stage, and I love singing on stage. But then it's also like, oh, I get to share this with people that I care about.
Yeah, and like
it's just
off stage was like the stuff that
and
you
like
look
the
forward
moments
to.
that like you really remember and all that stuff. So
Because you got to kind of see the world a little bit.
Yeah,
and then
for
you
sure,
got to
for sure.
eat at all the spots.
yeah,
I'm sure.
so it's like these things where it's like, man, it was so cool to just be with people in that, and that's what YouTube kind of brought for me.
Yeah.
And then obviously it has all this business corporate use, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
which is amazing.
definitely.
And like
Which kind of like fueled you guys to do what you guys love doing.
exactly.
That's kind of like the dream.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
the balance. It's
Right.
it's kind of like you have to find that.
Yeah.
Find that balance between your passion and don't let the business part affect your passion.
Oh my
your
gosh,
quality. And all
yeah.
that. It's just a constant battle between those two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I want to jump in. I got a few questions here. In a podcast that we had recently, we talked about the two most important days of your life is the day that you were born and the day you found out why. For you, obviously, yeah, it's so deep,
so
right?
deep.
We're going deep.
Yeah, dog.
We're gonna go deep. But like for you, when was that day? And I know it probably I mean, it could even do with music or not, but like, what was the day that you found out that you had purpose and what that purpose was?
Man, that's such a good question. I don't know the day.
Right.
But I don't remember the day, but I do remember
Like what moment?
earlier in YouTube and doing like covers. And I didn't really write too much in the beginning, but I remember doing this, and I remember getting a message. And it would be, you know what? I have 2-part answers.
Yeah, go for it.
So it'd be like, one would be music, and then the other thing would be using my platform.
Yeah.
So the first part would be with music on YouTube. Just doing covers. I'd get there was one message I remember, and it was literally, this guy was deployed, and he was serving in overseas in the Middle East, and he was literally like, he's like, man, I'm just out here doing, serving the country, and it's literally, I listened to this video just to get me through the day, and I was just like, and it was just this thing where I was like, I couldn't quite grasp it, but then I was like, just thinking, I was like, man, this is so much bigger than It's seeds. There are these seeds that you don't even know that you're planting. Like, you just throw them out there, and then you don't know how it's going to affect. Yeah. For good or for worse, you don't know. Yeah. So at that point, I was just like, man, that those kind of things mean way more than anything else I can do. Wow. So with music, that's when I was like, okay, you really can affect, and that's like it. And it's a constant battle of like, thinking of numbers and like, oh man, I need to get these views, I need to get these things. But then it's like, dang, it really is just almost about that one person. Yeah. You know what I mean? If it could just be that one person, like, you don't know. And that was one of the moments when I realized, I guess, my purpose. Yeah. And then when it comes to like my original music, as far as like By Chance, my You and I song, the Cucumber song, as some may know it. Yeah. But like I'll get messages where they'll be like, yo, like it's their first dance to getting married. Way. Like like I've done weddings where I've done that. Yeah. People brings them every time I meet a kid this day, or younger, they're not kids anymore, but they're like probably 21. They're like, oh my gosh, I loved you. I loved you during middle school, like middle school. Yeah. It's always middle school. I'm like, dang, I'm so old, man.
I know, you just dated me.
Dang, I'm just hella old, dog.
I'm so old.
But yeah, just like being able to have a connection to someone's life, and especially like such, I guess, pivotal moments in their life, memories, like that's just been such a blessing. And then as far as finding purpose in like my platform, so after having, I guess, over a decade under my belt of doing music, YouTube, just being, I guess, just public, a public figure, I guess you would say. Yeah.
Well, you're verified, so you
sure. Yeah, I got a blue check. Watch out! I'm the real JR. I remember when I got the blue check, I was like, "Watch out now, guys!
Watch out!
You can't tell me I'm not JR now." If anyone was confused,
y'all fake JRs out there better recognize.
I'm the only one. Oh my god! But no, it was I remember really now using my platform, being recently saved. So I was saved last year. Yeah. Praise God.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. But there, I remember having a transition. This is off topic, but having a transition where I was like, okay, I'm on fire for Jesus, and I want to share my faith. Yeah. But there's a part of me where I was like, oh, but that's gonna affect your audience, dog. Like, there's something inside of me however you want to say, if you the enemy, someone saying like, yo, don't do that.
That's
like,
fear.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Don't do that, dog. Like, that's gonna be weird. Don't do that. Yeah. But then it was kind of this thing. Oh, I remember hearing a Chance line that kind of affirmed me doing it. So I would do little by little. I would post something on my IG and be like, you know what I mean? Especially when it first started, you know what I mean? Little things. I remember Chance has a line in one of his songs. He's like, basically if if it has something to do with God, then there's nothing wrong with it. Like then it has to be good. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. It's something along those lines.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, I mean, yeah, if it's like if it has something to do with God, then it's good for my brand. Like, you know what I mean?
Snap. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, bet.
Yeah.
So it was one of these things where I was just like, oh, I'm gonna use my platform to be bold about it.
Wow.
And literally ever since that, I don't think I haven't seen anything. It's not declined.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I felt like I've seen more engagement. I guess if we're talking about if you're thinking of like a statistical or a business thing, I've been better in my life being bold about this than I have been.
So I want to talk about two things along that vein is your journey of Jesus pulling you out and like, you know, saving you and your whole life, what it looks like now from a year ago. Yeah. And then the second part is your take on Kanye West.
Word. Right? So dang, hard questions. Yeah, gotcha.
But, you know, being a musician yourself, as an artist yourself, and him just coming out being bold about and the things that he's doing, I really want to get your perspective on that. Because there's a lot of like in the Christian world, and I know you're fairly new to the faith, right? I grew up in church, and I grew up and I seen it all. I literally seen the politics, the good, the bad, and like I've seen it, everything about it. Being a pastor's kid as well, you know, I've seen a lot that happens in church, in small churches, big churches, and all that stuff. And the things that even Kanye had said in his album, like the first one that's gonna hate on me is the Christian.
Yeah, word.
You know what I mean? Which is accurate.
Word.
Like,
okay.
You know, so he's getting a lot of controversy, and especially like a while back, his support for Trump and all that stuff. But I want to talk about first, before we dive into that, is your journey of faith.
Man, it's been a crazy journey. I guess it just like some people, I guess most people, it comes from I was hurt and lost.
Yeah.
I recently went not recently, but when before I was getting over a breakup, and then it was because of my friend. You know, God was using my friend as a vessel. EJ. Shout out to EJ.
Massive shout out.
Emmanuel Jr. Barba.
Serving our country.
Yeah, serving our country, serving the Lord.
I love that guy.
Yeah, he's one of the best people in the world. Just a loving man. And I just remember, so it was we're out for a mutual friend's birthday. Yeah. And we were downtown. And I was getting litty. At that time. So I was getting litty on a Saturday night. And
typical Vegas night.
Yeah, typical Vegas night.
Yeah.
And I remember him like pulling me to the side. And he's like, yo, man. He knew, man. He was smart, taking advantage of me in my drunken vulnerability.
You're so vulnerable right now.
Yeah. So this was like March of 2018. 2018. Okay. So March of 2018. He pulls me aside. He's like, yo, come to church with me tomorrow. And I'm like kind of tipsy. And I'm like, man, I'm down. I'm down.
He got you, bro.
Got me.
He got you.
I woke up the next morning.
Having to deliver.
I'm not like this. Waking up the next morning, I'm like
hungover, and he showed up to church.
And then he hits me. He's like, "Yo, you ready?" And I was like,
"What?"
I can't say no. Dang.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna go.
You can't say no to EJ.
I'm gonna go.
You know.
And long story short, EJ's just a little background on EJ. EJ's always been this guy that's always been a guy that's he never pressed his ideals and like
belief.
His belief onto anybody. He's just been a light. Yeah. You know, being salt and light to the earth. Kind of like so I would always, and I would see his posts and all that stuff. So even in the back of my mind, whenever I thought of like, oh, I want to go to church, you know, in my BC days, it was like, okay, EJ goes to this church, I want to go to that church. You know what I mean?
Just because of who he is.
Yeah, who he is. And so he brought me to church. Yeah. And then I remember walking into the church and then hearing the worship team. Wow. And I remember specifically Pastor Jabin was leading. Yeah. It was also I'm honored to also lead beside the guy, beside like Weston,
Yeah.
Milena, Bree.
All
They
of
were
them.
all up there.
Incredible. Our team's incredible.
Yeah, it was just a great. I just remember being there and just hearing the music.
Yeah.
And you know, music. God has put that in my heart.
Yeah.
And I was just like this thing where I was just like so moved by it.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I just, you know, I didn't like go every Sunday
Sure,
after
yeah,
that, but it
yeah.
was a matter of like, you know,
But there was a seed that was
it was a
planted.
seed that was planted. And then I remember, walking in that first day where I was like, dang, I would love to be on the worship, and I would love to, like, why
Wow.
not? But
Yeah.
then I had to check myself and be, well, not had to, but I felt like there was something in me like, not worthy.
Right.
You know,
right. Because of your past.
Yeah, because
of-
my past, whatever it may be. But it's also like I look at it like it's an honor, and it's still
Wow.
it's such an honor to praise God, to
Yeah.
worship His name and glorify His name.
Yeah.
And I don't take that lightly.
Yeah.
Like by any
So,
means, still don't.
Let me ask you this, because there's probably a lot of people on the fence, even
Mm-hmm.
like about, you know, God and all that stuff. And we tackle a lot about that
Mm-hmm.
on this show. But for you, so like you went in and you got hooked because of worship,
Mm-hmm.
but how'd you know that like this is real? Like, what was the moment where you're like, I believe, you know?
Man,
Because a lot of people like the outer stuff of, like, you know, being a good person,
Yeah.
or like being kind. Like anyone could be that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're human beings, but where was the tipping point for you? Like, where you like, I'm sold out. Like, I believe so, like, wholeheartedly that I'm gonna spend the rest of my life serving and like just loving God and loving people.
honestly, it was the people.
Wow.
Like my pastor Jabin says, like, God will use people, will
Yeah.
work through people, and literally it was having a real support group.
Wow.
And not like in the sense, like I have great friends,
Yeah.
people that are, you know, Christian and not Christian,
Yeah.
but there is something about having people that live near me,
Yeah.
and just really support me without any kind of ulterior motives.
Right.
And it was just like this thing where I was just like, oh man, people want to see you win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
That's
I
so
feel like,
huge.
and it all goes back to the seeds thing. You know what I mean? You don't
Yeah.
know how you're affecting people. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just thankful for, people like you,
Yeah.
like you and
I'm
Britt.
thankful for you.
No, bro.
Yeah.
So people like you and Britt, EJ,
Yeah.
and then all of my other homies
community.
at church, like the people at church, at City Light Church, just for right here, Britt.
Right there.
Um,
We just opened a new
literally.
campus in Silverado.
Yeah.
What's
Shout
up?
out. Hey,
Shout out.
congrats.
Hey.
Congrats. We just opened Silverado. You know, it's a high
Okay.
school, but on Sundays, it's a church. To
They
bring
didn't know-
glory to God. They didn't know.
They didn't know they were
They
building a
made
church.
our church for free. Thank you. I'm just kidding. No, it's really the community.
Yeah.
that really, and not to say that my faith is based on people, because
Right.
obviously we're human.
Yeah, yeah, of
and I would
course.
never, if someone falters,
Right.
it's not like I'm gonna. I know that it's
Right.
not. My faith is not put on them. It's God.
Yeah.
But they for sure, God for sure moved through people
Yeah,
to
he-
get me
he
closer to
used
Him,
people.
and put and like really great leaders like yourself, like
wow.
Omar. There's just people that really led by example, and I was just
Yeah.
like, man, saw how they lived,
Yeah.
and I was like, and how they loved.
Yeah.
And it was something where I was like, man, I aspire to do. I love people.
Yeah.
But I also want to love people in a way that I can bring them closer to Christ
Yeah.
and experience just
That's amazing.
what I've gotten.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Being saved is and His grace and His mercy. It's just amazing. Yeah.
It's amazing. You're living in like a freedom.
Yeah, bro. I've never been, and it's crazy. It's like, people have heard this. I mean, if you're Christian, it's not like life gets easier.
Yeah.
It's just that you know that you have
Yeah.
your source
Yeah.
of confidence, your
Yeah.
source of power is God, and
And
I
you-
just know that I can handle anything.
Yeah.
With Him there.
That's incredible. And
Yeah.
you had mentioned about like you were kind of tippy-toeing or like testing the water when you first became like saved, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you're putting out they're online and stuff, and you gotten like such a positive response, or like, you know, what was that like? Because like I know a lot of people, especially in our industry, I'm in the advertising industry and stuff, like we're very business and professional stuff, and like any opportunity I get, like I'll shoot out like a positive quote or a Bible verse, or you know, but a lot of it is like, you know, I'm living my life by example, and people see the light of Christ in me, you know, because just like EJ, like we don't want to pressure anyone or push anyone, because everyone's journey is different.
Exactly.
And you know, so what was like that response, or what was a battle between inner battle that you had when you're like deciding like, okay, am I all in? Am I gonna post about this? How are people gonna respond? Because we're human, right?
Most definitely.
We're like, there might be people on the edge right now, like, should I share my faith? Should I not? What?
Most definitely. And I totally get that. And for sure, everyone's journey is different. Like, you know what I mean? Your audience, who you're reaching, is different.
Right.
I felt like, and it's Pastor Jabin with another fire post. Literally, his post about like, hey, don't, like the whole not worrying about what you're posting, just post. Because if they're following you for a reason, because they're interested in what you're interested in.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
if they're not, they're gonna unfollow.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like at the end of the day, do you want to post things you don't like for the people that you don't care for?
Right. That's wisdom.
So it's one of those things where it just affirmed that for me.
Yeah.
But one of the things that helped was when I posted, and then I remember getting a message from this one girl, and she was just talking about, hey, I didn't know that you were Christian, and just thank you so much for being open with your faith, because I feel like she's like, I feel like I've been battling with being like embarrassed about it and not being, and she's like, but thank you so much because it's helping me a lot.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, like it was those kind of moments that literally mean so much. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I feel like the bold life is almost like the best life you can live, like being with
unashamed,
going all in, all in. Yo, all in, serious. So many plugs for City Light, but you know, all in, baby,
all in, baby.
Shout out to Pastor Jamin again.
Pastor J.
Dang, he's too good.
He's stealing the show.
He's too good. He's not even here. He's too good. It was one of those moments. And then honestly, man, there are a couple other times when it was just like literally, it couldn't be anybody else but God. Yeah. Like I literally, it's the craziest. I have this one story. I'm probably not going to share it just because it's not my story to tell, but I remember one of my friends sharing the story with me, and then I literally like was crying because it was just this moment where I was just like, God is so good. Yeah. And undeniable. And it was one of those things where I didn't, where I would, it almost gets to a point where you're posting things and you feel like it's routine. Yeah. And then, like I said, it's a seed, so you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. And it was just one of these things where it was something that I posted about the church, and then that seed just became something, and they basically ended up giving their life to Christ. But then there was something else that happened that was even bigger, and I was just like, oh wow. Like, and it kind of just was like, okay, this is this is not for nothing. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's not for nothing. Yeah, so it's like the choices that you make is whether you see the fruit or not. Yeah, the obedience. He's working. It's working. He's working. Like, man. He's, there's a saying that I grew up knowing, like, you're just here to plant those seeds, and God's the one that waters it and brings the sunshine. That's exactly what it is. He brings the rain, he brings the sun. Yeah. And sometimes you get to harvest the seeds, or sometimes you don't even get that. Someone else harvests it. That's exactly what it is. And your job is to just keep planting. Yeah. Like, your job is just to keep doing it. Just obedient, man. And it's frustrating sometimes because you could easily get frustrated because, like, I love the verse that says, don't stop doing good. Yeah. Right. And sometimes in our daily life, we're just like, sometimes we feel burned out. Yeah. But I think that burnout comes because we're relying on our own strength and not God's. That's true. You know what I mean? That's true. And I don't know if you ever feel like that, but like, man, I need God. Yeah. Like, I need his grace. Yeah. I need his love. Yeah. I need his strength. Because we're not made to do this life alone. For sure. For sure. And like, your story is so inspiring, and that idea of continuing to plant the seed
is encouraging. And I know that it's encouraging someone out there right now, and hearing your story with the platform and success that you've had, knowing that you also fight those battles.
Oh man, most definitely. There's even, I guess I would even say, even I guess this would be a little a more transparent take on it. But like earlier this year, even during my birthday, when I got baptized.
Yeah. I was we went to the after party, but
yeah.
Man.
But I got baptized in my pool in the backyard.
There you go.
But no, literally during that I was depressed. I was dealing with like seasonal depression.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah, man. And I was dealing with it bad from like I would say like from like April to like probably June.
Wow.
And
that's
man. And it was just one of these things, and I just know that if I didn't have God, if I didn't have the church,
the community,
I would not have gone through it. I wouldn't. It would have been so tough. I remember being I remember like going to worship, being on the team, and it would just be like the only source of like strength I would have through that day. And then I would just dip right after church just because I couldn't be around people. And it was just one of these things where it's like, I loved being around people, but I just didn't want to be around people too.
Oh, you want to just shut yourself in the room.
Yeah. So it was one of those things, and it was just so for sure dealing with. And I'm super like I feel like I'm socially graceful when I need to be.
Yeah. You got an on and off switch.
But I love being alone. Like, and I'm
100%.
And I'm also old enough to like not care.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, yo, I'm out.
Yeah. And everyone's
like,
going,
yo, I love y'all. Like, trust.
We're about to hit the club at like 10 o'clock. It's like, cool, go ahead. My bedtime's like, no.
Like sometimes I'll be like, yo, like, you want to do these things? I'll be like, yo, Jerry, you're leaving? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna leave.
I'm out.
I love y'all though. Yeah. This doesn't change anything. You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
I love each and every one of y'all.
Yeah.
I just need it because this is not going to be fun for me. Like, you know what I mean?
That takes a lot of wisdom and maturity on your point.
Yeah, I just don't want people to think it's like, oh man, you're a jerk. It's like, nah. I'm like, yo,
I just know me.
I know me. And like, I love y'all. I love y'all so much.
I'm back to that age. Like, I think it's a age thing too.
Yeah.
Like, well, not age, but wisdom thing. When you know your threshold.
Yeah.
You know, because like you and myself, like we're both introvert, extrovert.
Yeah.
Like we could do well in a social environment, but we absolutely need that recharge time.
Yes.
That alone time. Like I love sitting at home and just doing nothing.
Bro.
Or just reading a book, or just by myself. I'm comfortable with my own thoughts.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing.
Most definitely.
You know, and a lot of people struggle with that, you know, especially like nowadays when, you know, with mental health and all that stuff, it's super important for just like people like you and myself to really be transparent about, you know, like, you know, I went through depression when I was younger growing up, being adopted. I didn't know who my family was until I turned 21. But when I was 15, 16, I attempted suicide 3 times, you know, and I had to go through I was in high school. I had to go see like the counselor, therapist and stuff. And because I was going through battling massive depression, and I feel like that's a spirit, you know, depression is a spirit that we battle.
For sure.
But for a lot of people, it's a mental health issue. Like, and you can't, it's not like you don't want to be depressed. Like no one wakes up saying, "I'm gonna be depressed today."
It's not your choice. Like,
you know what I mean?
It's
not a choice.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you try your damnedest to really battle it and be like, "Yo, I'm not gonna do it."
But it creeps in.
But it's hard. Sometimes it just sneaks in.
And you're like, man. But you're like. And then you feel bad about being depressed because you're like, I'm supposed to be happy. Like, I'm supposed to be thankful. I'm supposed to be somewhere. And then that's how, like, kind of like the enemy sneaks in. The enemy is
like a thief. Like, like a thief trying to steal your joy, man.
But to be real about it, it's like, man, you know what? The community, like, just God's breakthrough, especially because, you know, we went through a break, again, City Light. Yeah. We went through a breakthrough course.
Yes.
That was the most significant moment in time. That's actually during that season of that breakthrough season. That is when we got the courage and our faith rose, believing for us to have a child, me and Britt to have a child, because we went through 3 miscarriages in the past, and like we were done. Like we were like depressed. We had no hope, you know, and we're like, man, we don't want to go through another one. Yeah. And that was depressing. And we went through that season. But that breakthrough season elevated our faith, and we started believing again. Man. And now we're here, you know.
Yeah, man, praise God.
I know. So it's just so important, I think, for us to have more conversations about that openly.
Being transparent with each other, I think that's a real thing.
Right, right.
Because I mean, especially I feel like in Asian American households, man, it's just I don't think I've never had conversations with my parents, and I remember actually talking to my mom, probably like, love you, mom. This is no slight at you, but I remember like having conversation, and then she almost just not understanding, like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you feeling like why your feelings are affecting you? Yeah, and it's like, dang. Am I soft?
Thing. Yeah, it's a culture thing.
It's like, it's a culture thing for sure. But it's because I feel like it's because they've had to deal with they had to be hardened. They had to. Like they got here and they had no time for feelings.
Yeah, I don't know about your parents. My parents came straight from the Philippines.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and they came to I remember my mom telling me when she was a registered nurse that she would go in. She wouldn't understand or speak that much English, so like. Everyone on like her team made fun of her. She would go to the bathroom and cry. Dang. For years, but she'd tell herself, look in the mirror and be like, you came to America. Yeah. It doesn't matter what they're saying. You at the end of the day, you got to provide for your family, and you got to put send money back to the Philippines.
Exactly. There's way more. They were just mentally like they had to like reinforce themselves. Like that, like totally. My mom did like 2 jobs. Mad respect. What I mean? Like there's a lot, it's just this thing where, but then also the I guess the negative part of that is that when you almost harden yourself too much, to when you do have children, and when you are trying to nurture,
because they don't have,
you're trying to nurture it. When you're trying to nurture, but it becomes your nature. Like you're trying to nurture them, and then it becomes this hardened nature, and that's just what it is.
Because we didn't have that upbringing. Yeah, we were very blessed and privileged to for our family to have gone through that struggle for us to have a better life.
Yeah, exactly.
And when we had a better life, we kind of get soft. Yeah, because we're like,
it's just the balance. You're trying to find that balance. It's finding the balance.
It's true, man. Yeah. Oh man, that's exciting. I got a few more questions, and then we could wrap up this podcast. I think we talked about this, like what childhood memory shaped your life. A lot of that was like spending time with your family, like karaoke.
Yeah, super. I was super with my family. My mom's a family of 8. My dad's a family of 9. Wow. Or switched one of those. Yeah. But literally, they all of my cousins and everything were like grew up around family like all the time. We used to do Christmas parties at my house with both sides of the family. Oh wow! So there would be like literally be like 100 people, 100 people in the house. People. Yeah, for real.
Oh my gosh, and the food.
Yeah, dog. It would be a whole day event. It'd be like from like one.
That's kind of like my family. I have a lot of relatives. I have like a ton. I haven't even met all of mine. And I'm just like, dang, it's never gonna end.
There's too many.
Yeah, so I want to talk. We had touched on the topic of Kanye West, and I want to bring that up in Christian music and your perspective. I mean. So a lot of times, and we had talked before this podcast about like, your perspective, because you're coming into like Christian music, and CCM. It's been around for a long time, and like, but from your perspective of being a musician and an artist, and also like the way you see God now from how you seen him before he was in your life, and all that, or same thing that happened with Kanye, so the hate that he's getting and the love that he's getting, whether you love him or hate him, he's doing something effective and he's living out Kanye. Kanye loves Kanye. Yeah. So like with his music, and I know you listened to the album.
Yeah.
Sure,
no, I was listening Sunday Service Choir. I was listening to that. I was bumping that.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have Kanye on it, but,
right. But it's still fire.
Yeah. You know what I mean? He put that together.
He put it together. So what are your thoughts about music and what I guess like worship should sound like, or worship should be like?
It's almost, music is one of the things that God used to grasp me. Yeah. When I walked through City Light the first day, it was what caught me and what kind of kept me there.
Wow, captured.
Along with the message. That goes without saying. Pastor Javen's an amazing pastor. Yeah. And but it was like everything. Yeah. It was everything. I think everything's important, all the parts. Yeah. And music was just a really big part for me because that just speaks to me. Yeah. It speaks directly to my heart like that. What was the question again?
It was about like your take on Kanye.
Oh yeah. So he's made the decision not to do any of his old music, right? Right. And he's decided he's just going to do Christian music. And honestly, who am I to judge, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, who am I to judge? And he's from what I see so far from his music, and I'm not like theologically sound or anything, but I would say it brings glory to his name and how it even works. Like, and like I said, God is gonna do what he's gonna do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can take evil and turn it to good. Like,
Right.
so not to say that Kanye is doing something evil.
I literally feel like it's our modern day Saul to Paul moment.
Word.
You know what I mean?
Word.
Like Saul was slaughtering Christians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he was the worst
like
of the worst.
literally last year, Kanye was saying something crazy.
He was saying something.
It was something crazy.
I don't know. It had to do with bleach. I don't know.
It was something crazy. It was something crazy about garden tools. About garden tools. But that's what I'm saying.
But
literally,
I think that shows just how great God is.
I loved how Kanye was saying. It was like, because at that James Corden interview,
right?
And it was like, so what do you say to the people that? And they were like, oh wow, how can he?
Yeah,
he's doing this, and he was like, it's like a light switch. It's like two states of being awake and being asleep, drastically different. I'm awake now, and I was like, dang, you know what? Honestly, how can you even argue it? Like,
you can't.
And I can tell, I know the feeling. I know the feeling where it's like, you might have people who are just doubting, like, who do you think you are? Like JR, like stop. Like, I know who you are. Right. I know what you did. I know what you've done.
Yeah.
Stop playing yourself, JR. You're still the same. No, I was like, nah, dog. I'm renewed.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And you know what I mean? I think that's something between him and God, and that's something. But
the expression of what.
Yeah.
So what music does and what worship really is, and we call it Christian worship, whatever. I don't even think like that term Christian music is even. I don't even think it's a thing. It's like music.
It's just a genre that people. It's more. It's like borders. It's like lines. You're imaginary lines that you're putting these things that.
Right. You're trying to label something.
Yeah. Just so you can understand. So
So for music in general, like just worship is that expression of what your relationship is like with God.
Yeah.
Right? And which I'm really excited about because you're coming out with a lot of new music this year.
Yeah, trying to plan in the writing process right now.
So let's talk about that. I don't know, like I know we got good sounds to talk about, and we got your last EP, right? And how's that going? Like what's that been like in this season that you're in right now?
Well, so right now, as far as the writing process and music, I'm planning to do, you know, regular, I guess, quote unquote, secular music, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what secular means. It's something, but I know it's not. I mean, it's
that's
like the opposite of Christian music.
I only hear secular music in the Christian world, and like regular world, they're like, oh yeah, that's a banger. That's an album.
I'm doing music, and then I'm doing worship music.
Bam,
also. I guess that's the.
Okay.
I'm going to be doing worship.
And then worship. You're doing worship.
I would like to do. Yeah, I'm planning on doing worship.
You heard it here first. Divine Hustle. Is this an exclusive announcement?
Yeah, I guess this would be an exclusive announcement.
Damn.
But yeah, it's been weighing on my heart, and I really would like to. I would really like to do some worship music this year. I mean, obviously, I find great honor and responsibility in doing that kind of stuff, especially when I'm on the worship team.
Yeah.
I see what it can do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
So for me, I don't really, I don't say like I'm gonna do worship music like it's gonna be a hobby for me.
Right.
It's something where it's like, oh, I really want to do it right.
Yeah, it's like a deep.
Yeah, it's and that's when I would like, oh, you know, I'm like this year. Shout out to Omar for getting me on this, but it's like we're doing like I'm starting to read my Bible way more and read it in a way where I fully understand. I try to understand it to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
And don't just read it for purposes of getting something from it, but actually knowing God, knowing Jesus,
that relationship,
and the way He was, and how He loved and served, and so it's just one of these things where, it's I wanna write with it's just bigger than just writing a song about like oh, I'm heartbroken and like. Yeah, you stupid. I hate you.
Well, I think like, that's true. Right?
Yeah, it's one of those. It's more than just that. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, but we also love that. Like,
we love those.
We love those.
We love those.
Love songs.
But those ones are just a little bit easier.
One of my favorites, Hoodie.
Oh,
like,
word. Thank you,
that's
sir.
A banger.
Thank
I love
you, sir.
it. And like, oh man, like I remember when you played it live, I was just like, oh, I just wrapped myself with my wife, and I was like, oh,
there it is, man. That's what that was for.
Yeah, yeah. But like, this is really interesting because now you're stepping into like expressing your relationship with God through worship.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal, and that comes from a deep place. Not that music doesn't come from a deep place, but this is like influencing eternal, like, you know, things.
Eternal. I
don't know what the
like results. I guess. Yeah, results. Like
eternity.
Yeah,
you know, when you think about eternity, it's like forever. Like, you know,
forever.
Forever. You know, and like this life is so short. So like, for you in the journey in your walk, like for you to be like, yo, I'm just gonna, I want to do a worship album, and like the effects of that, and you know, putting that out there, expressing that. It's boldness, really, to put your faith out there, but you're not doing it for you.
Yeah,
like
most definitely not. Most definitely not.
Like you're doing it because like
I literally, like, my thing is I remember when I first started doing worship at City Light. Was my number one prayer was just like, God, just use me. Yeah. In any way that you see fit.
Wow.
I could sing backup for the rest of, I don't need to sing lead. Like, you know what I mean? And there's some times where I'd have to check myself. Yeah. And that's just my flesh being, you know. But there's times where I literally was just like God, just use, I literally can just do back. I'm like, and then when I did have those feelings of, oh, I want to do lead and stuff like that, I'd be like, you idiot, Jared. Jared, you literally, that's your job. You do this all the time.
Let me tell you, when you do lead, bro, there's an anointing on your life.
Thank you, bro.
And like, whether you are backup or you lead, like the anointing is so heavy on you that you're literally like God's presence is there, and people are literally drawn to, like a magnet, not to you, but it's like a vessel, like a vehicle to be in God's presence.
Yeah, and that's exactly. That's what my prayer is, like. God, just use me.
Yeah.
And that was one thing with the whole like IG thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like,
yo, I'm gonna post. God, go ahead. I'll be a poster boy. I don't care. Like, just use me, dog. You can use that. Use all of it. Like, I don't. This is all for you because I've gotten so much.
Yeah.
I've gotten so much.
Yeah.
More than I actually deserve. I've gotten. And if like he continues to bless me in so many ways that I see and I don't see, that I'm just like, yo, God, just take it. Just take all of it. It's
like the grace that keeps on giving.
Exactly.
Like when you put, especially,
it's the sharing.
Yeah.
It's what literally, another Pastor Jabin, shout out to you again.
Jabin, take it over.
Dang. But literally it was like, share. And God will always have more supply than your demand.
It's amazing.
And that is so true.
It's so true.
So true. What you want, and it's also this vision, like your vision. It's almost like dangerous to just trust your vision and want to and get your vision. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, God's vision is probably 1,000 times bigger and better.
And it's he has like the best in store for you. Like he has dreams for you and vision for you. Like you can't outdream God.
You can't outdo anything.
You know?
God. Yeah.
Like he'll create ways and orchestrate ways.
You could probably be out dumb. You could be stupid. You could out stupid God for sure.
Dumb God, huh?
Oh, yeah, out dumb. You're dumb.
Out dumb, huh?
Dang.
Adam was probably called out dumb.
You're stupid. Stupid.
Out dumb, huh? Hey, where's Eve?
You're out dumb. Oh, that's what you meant.
That's what I meant.
That's funny.
Out dumb and Eve, huh?
Out dumb.
Anyway.
I'm hella slow.
I'm just working on my dad jokes.
That's so funny. That was really good.
Right.
That was really good.
Okay.
And I think the response time was correct on that. Like your kids are gonna be like, oh, Dad,
geez.
go away. Dad.
Yeah. Oh man. Anyway, so talking about that worship, like, is there like an idea of when you want to release that, or like when you're working on that?
I mean, right now there's no rush on it.
Yeah.
I'm working with the homie Brandon.
There you go. Shout out
to Brandon. Yep.
Yeah.
MD.
One hand.
Yeah. One hand man. One hand band man. I don't know. We love him.
Yeah, we do.
Shout out to the Yap family.
Yeah. Yappers.
I'm just working closely with him to,
Dope.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, as we close this podcast, I just want to talk about two things before we end. Is, one is a question that I had was, if you would ever perform with someone, who would you want to perform with? That's exciting. And then also, like, where can people find you? Where can people hear about your story? Like, where can people connect with you and all that stuff?
Oh man, a person I would like to collab with?
Yeah.
Dang. Honestly, who would I like to collab with? My idol's Usher. My number one musical influence, like growing up, I guess even with my voice, would be Usher.
Oh, wow. You think you can get him on? I mean...
Yeah, you know, never. I might hit him up. I might hit him up real quick.
You know, he's connected to some people that are, you know, that are
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah. You
it's
know,
somewhere.
It's somewhere, but also like, you know, he's on his way to know Jesus somehow. Like, you know,
God will do a work on him.
He'll do a work.
Oh, this little aside. Well, it's not really. It's a little tangent, but Confessions is the best R&B album ever.
That is 100% true. That is 100% true.
There's no contest.
Zero.
And if you don't believe that, unfollow me. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Man, all right, bro. Thanks so much for being on the show, bro. I mean, there's so many things in this podcast that I think a lot of people are going to take away with, and they're so excited that they got to see a little bit deeper about who you are and how you see the world and the lens that you look through. So we really appreciate you being on this show and taking the time. And where can we find you? Where can we connect with you and all that?
You guys can find me on, I'm not really, YouTube. I'm going to kind of start doing that again, but more for this thing that I do called Good Sounds.
Yes. And can you talk about what Good Sounds is for a second?
Good Sounds. So Good Sounds is
what's the vision?
So Good Sounds is basically a showcase. Well, basically, it's an excuse for me to showcase people that I enjoy, like talented people that I enjoy.
Selfish reason.
It's literally probably. It's like, wow, I really like this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a sharing thing. It's like, man, I really like this, and I want to put this together. Why not? So people that I enjoy, that I happen to come across, and I'm like, dang, this is tight.
Dope.
You know, so right now it's we're gonna be doing our third one, which is on February 28th. If you're in Vegas, pull up,
check it out.
I'll be posting, but yeah, it's a showcase of talented individuals that I enjoy, singers. It's singers and it's musical singers. Right now. I mean, musical singers. Just singers.
Singers, artists.
But I think I'm going to start doing...
You're going to open it up to like dancers?
I might open it up for like dancers.
Crews, some
dance stuff. Some maybe spoken words. Some rappers, all that stuff.
Okay.
But right now it's like, it's a showcase, a local showcase here in Vegas.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, we're going to be doing some fun stuff with that. Pertaining to YouTube. I'll probably use my page for that.
Yeah.
You can find me on Instagram. That is JR Aquino. Just straight up JR Aquino. If you do not know how to spell Aquino because you are not Filipino, it's JR AQUINO. Not Aquino.
Aquino.
Not Aquino. Aquino. Put some respect on my name. But JR Aquino, and then my Twitter is also JR Aquino. Yeah,
that's where you mostly hang out.
Yeah, man. But yeah, thank you for having me, bro. Thank you so much.
Honestly, it was an honor having you.
Yeah,
man, it's such a pleasure. Obviously, I mean, honestly, it's a selfish thing because I'm like, I just want to ask him how, you know, what his journey was like. So thank you so much. For those that are listening, if you want to tune in some more, check out divinehustle.com. Also, we're on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, all that stuff. We're on Instagram, Divine Hustle, and YouTube, Divine Hustle as well. And if you want to follow me, your host, John Mediana, it's John Me Diana on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, whatever, LinkedIn, whatever.
But you non-Filipinos.
For you non-Filipinos.
Oh, non-Filipinos, non-Hispanic, non-Latin.
Diana.
Me Diana.
Me Diana. Mediana. All right, so thanks, bros. Thanks so much.
Thank you, brother.
Man, mad respect. We're excited about all the stuff that's coming out. And tune in next week on a new podcast from Divine Hustle.
Yeah.
See y'all. Peace.